Okay, everything is set now. Again, I started streaming again, so this part, well, this class is going to have two parts, but well, we're going to fix that later on. Now, let's go please to this last practice for the TOEFL. And again, I'm giving you this, at least I tried to give you some practice here. Remember, well, I actually thought that we were going to be working more time, but at least we got to see this. And remember, what you have to remember, and you have to do this by yourself. And of course, they are going to teach you even more in the prep course that you will have, is that you need to actually look for your own strategy. But of course, you have to consider very well what your instructors are going to tell you, at least the ones that are going to be in charge of the prep course. All right, they are going to be the ones giving you the updated strategies. The ones that I'm showing you are like a mix of everything, because again, I believe that you need to feel comfortable with what you're going to do. But again, if they give you new elements over here that they say help them right getting a higher score, and that's what you're looking for, perhaps it is going to be a good idea to take into account. All right, but I was working with, I believe, the one that is going to be your instructor for the prep course, and this is the logic that we were following. All right, this is the logic that I think you are going to follow for the TOEFL even now. Now, remember, right? I told you, and as you were able to see, it happened in actually all the exercises. The conclusion that we had as option is actually never going to be used. Actually, it's almost never going to be used, right? Because we always feel the pressure that we're about to finish, that we couldn't finish what we wanted to say. So that sensation is always going to, well, stop us, right, using that possible conclusion. But again, if you noticed also, it is not necessary. Even in the examples that you see over here, we don't have like a conclusion, right? But remember, even not having a conclusion is it's not, all right, the same as saying that we are not ending our ideas. It's important to end our ideas, not to be cut right in the middle of something, but to finish seconds before, and to do it at the same pace, or even sometimes, if you get to manage everything very well, sometimes slower than your previous pace, because you're finished. All right, so again, that those little details are always going to give the sensation of how controlled everything was for your response, how comfortable you were, how again organized you were. All right, and those details again are always going to give you a lot of extra points over there. Okay, so that being said, and remembering all the main characteristics and everything you should have into account, like the balance between the two ideas, we're going to take a look at, if I'm not wrong, at least one more element, or perhaps a couple. So we work with this. Yes, that's the one we covered before. Now, this is the one. Okay, it says, let's see. Yes, we didn't work on this one. Mm, okay, perhaps let me see. I don't want you to read that. Mhm. I know you have the answers over there, but no, let's work with this. Perhaps again, it's going to be a challenge because this is not going to be that common, even though it's a common topic, television. But what they say is interesting. So it says, some people like to watch television news programs, right? While others like to watch them only now and then. Which do you prefer? Include details and examples to support your explanation. All right, so we're going to have the 1 minute first to prepare everything. I don't know if you have any questions before starting, Matilda. Let me know, please.
Mm, no, I don't think so.
All right, so let's do it, please. I'm actually going to look for the timer. 1 minute. Okay, so I'm starting. Please, let's have 1 minute to prepare our response. All right, so we have that minute. Good. Now I'm going to read this again. It says, some people like to watch television news programs every day, while others like to watch them only now and then. Which do you prefer? Include details and examples to support your explanation. All right, so again, last recommendations once again, using the example, it can be an alternative, a good idea for one of them, for the two of them. You can try using facts. It's also an alternative. Remember, as long as you are giving, right, the same attention to both elements that you're mentioning and it feels that, we are good. So with that said, please, let's begin. Remember, please, Matilde, you're going to record. You can mute your microphone over here and you're going to have 45 seconds. Okay, let's try to go back to that limit, 45 seconds to record what we got. All right, are you ready? Let me know, please.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Good, let's do it, please. And you can start. All right, so you can upload that, please, Matilde. We have our speaking, right, well, section in the classwork. Let me know, please, when you have it there.
Okay. Going there. It should be there.
Yes, here it is. Good. I'm going to play it again. Right, this is just a matter of practice, and we have to keep working on that. I believe you're going to practice. Of course, you are on the prep course, but even right, even outside the classroom, this is something that has to be practiced a lot because again, the TOEFL is mainly about time management. Of course, how you organize your ideas, having a clear template of each task that you're going to complete. All right, you're going to have, and they are going to give that in the prep course, a template, a specific template for writing, for all the tasks for writing, for the ones for speaking. I wanted to practice that. We couldn't do it. But remember, you have, for example, in the speaking before doing this, because again, as this is the last course, I'm going to mention that you have a discussion between two people, all right, and you have to summarize the information by mentioning what one of them said and then the other one, right? Like reporting what they were talking about, and it's related to one main topic. And then once again, you are going to have perhaps something to read and something to listen to. Okay, so you have a variety of tasks, and there's always an approach, all right, for them. And there are templates that you can use, strategies for everything as the ones you have here. But again, it's good that we got to practice at least this because this can be one of the ones that creates or right the most confusion, because actually it's going to be, or it's harder to talk about something that you don't actually know anything sometimes about, right? Rather than the ones that you have to listen to, you have very good listening skills, good reading skills. So that's going to be easier than this. All right, this tends to be harder, but again, it's a good idea to practice with everything. So with that said, let's see how it went. Again, the idea, at least I think this is going to be the only one, then we get to read just a little bit with one of those articles. Let's pay attention. Also, you tell me please what you can identify that you can still improve or you have to change.
Okay. I prefer watching the news only now and then for the following reasons. First, I think it's too stressful to see it every day. For example, in my case, in the pandemic, watching the news every day about heartbreaking information, it was not good for my anxiety. And the second reason is
Good. Okay, so far we have that. I believe that in a certain reason it is, or in a certain way it is great. You have the introduction again, that's done. The first part mentioning this example and talking about, right, a real life situation that affected, right, the whole world. I think that's always a great idea as well, right? Because anyone can relate to your example. Okay, so good.
because I don't have the time to watch a whole program in the television. And yeah, it definitely takes too much time, and there are better and easier ways to get information and to not to wait the whole program to finish.
All right. Okay, good. Now, the first one had the example. The second idea was also clear. We understand the first reason is how stressful it can be. And the second one, right, the time that you need to watch, right, the full program. Okay, so it's good. Again, mainly my one recommendation, perhaps that's going to be my feedback over here. For the last one, right, perhaps we missed a better way to support that. Okay, you have the idea that it's very good because we don't have the time to do it. But again, using there perhaps one more example in this case, or mentioning some numbers would have made that even better. All right. For example, saying that it usually takes 1 or 2 hours, right? But actually, I have to do this and that, and that's why I cannot do it. So, put just a little more details to that is going to make it feel more complete and more even understandable. All right. But again, it is good. Just by adding those details, it can be better, right? In the last part, perhaps and we're trying to complement something, it was not possible, but to me you had the two elements over there. That's my main recommendation. I don't know if you have any well, observations for yourself, Matilda, something that you want to add, or a comment. Let me know, please.
Yeah, in the second example, I think I lost like 3, 4 seconds because didn't know what else to add. And yeah, I could have mentioned something of, yeah, a personal example about it, but yeah, I didn't thought about it.
Good. Yes, no, and it happens. Again, try to do that. Remember that as I said before, right, there is always a way to mention something, right, about anything, any topic you have over there. So two good ideas, again, is talking about something that perhaps didn't happen to you, right, but you can mention as it did, or mentioning some numbers, okay, putting numbers or percentage to certain things, or talking about details. It's always going to make that feel stronger. Okay, because remember here, they are not evaluating how precise your information is. No, it doesn't matter, right? They are analyzing how convincing you sound, how organized you are, and how well you can manage the time as you're doing it. Okay, so being convincing and organized, that's what you need to look for. Okay, and there, of course, you have to use good grammar, everything has to be correct, but using that in the correct time. Again, not using, because over here as you lost the 3 seconds that you said, right? You wanted to finish something, but you got to extend your time. Here it says 46, but we know it can be 45. But even 45, remember, that's too risky, right? Finishing always 44, like tops 43. That's what it's going to be the best option. And once again, why? Because you showed that you were able to finish everything that you wanted to say before the given time, right? Just that. Okay, so again, convincing, organized, and time management, that's going to be everything that is going to give you the best score over there. But yes, okay, in the last part, again, take that into account. If you don't have anything in mind, try to use the only idea that you had and try to put some numbers to it, or try to make it a real experience. Okay, you can always, even though, remember, right, you say you don't have time, and you can, if you don't find anything else, you can say, I remembered, right, the time that I was trying to watch a complete show, but it was not possible, right? Because when I realized it was already time to leave, and I almost, right, got late to my job because of that. I don't know, right? You can make, of course, that shorter, but you can think of that. And again, there's always something that you can say about at least that one idea in terms of an example about you or anybody else, or numbers. But that's it. Good. Now let's take a look at, please, the answer that they provided here. This is the one. Let's listen and let's read, please, to this.
I definitely prefer to watch the news only occasionally. There are two reasons for this. First of all, too much time spent watching the nightly news makes me feel really anxious. For instance, if I hear about some new war or disaster every day of the week, I get really depressed, and this makes it a lot harder to function in my daily life. Secondly, I think watching the news every day can be a waste of time. Like, if I spend an hour every day watching a news broadcast, I just don't have enough time for more important things. For example, this month I stopped watching the nightly news, and suddenly it became a lot easier to get all of my homework assignments done.
All right, so we're following the same line, right? We're on the same track. Anxiety and time, right? Wasting the time. All right, so again, and as you can see here, we have one example that is not like a real example, but is like a conditional, right? It says, if I here write this, and that, then you have the result of that. But yes, there you go. Okay, now I wanted to do something. I think we can try to just read a part of something, at least one paragraph, to mention some details for the reading. But I don't know if you have questions about this before going to the next and the last part, Matilde. Let me know, please.
No questions.
Okay, so again, as we're closing this, please take everything that we got to see into account for this task. You're going to prepare yourself even more and better. But if you take these details into account, you're going to be practicing, right? So I'm finishing with it, and I'm going to our last element for the reading material that I got here. And we're going to try to work with perhaps this. It's also related to music in a certain way that is different. And we are going to go to one specific part. Let me see, perhaps down below. Okay, good. Just a discussion. All right, over here. Now, just to put you into context, this is called the results of the Suzuki methods, right? That's a very famous method to teach music, right? That comes from Japan and is based on perhaps ideas, some of them scientific-based ideas, some of them, all right, not necessarily, but that thing that the brain, right, can learn better in certain periods of time, right? For example, the first 3 years of life, and then before the 7th year of life. Okay, that's why they propose learning music at least after the third year of life and exposing the children to music since birth up to the 3rd year. Okay, so exposing to music and then teaching them so that they have all the skills in terms of sensing and recognizing the sounds, and in terms of how skillful they can be afterwards. Okay, so that's the idea. Now, this is the discussion of how it worked and at least a summary of that. So let's read, please, Matilde, this discussion.
The Suzuki methodology in Japan has experienced major changes musically and environmentally. An analysis of printed music and recordings revealed that the musical stance of the method became more articulated and rigid. Over the years, the contemporary changes of the method also emphasized more technical aspects of the violin playing, particularly the use of the fourth finger and articulated bow usage. Although there are certain benefits to including the gradual emphasis on the use of the fourth finger, which leads pupils to acquire good technique, the study found that the overall atmosphere and environment of the lessons has become more rigid and currently lacks the previous family-oriented and playful stance. In the following section, the author cites perceived changes in overall tradition and learning environment by integrating Suzuki teachers' points of view.
All right. So now, if I ask the following, for example, here, Matilde, and it says right in the top, the Suzuki method has remained the same, right, from its origins. What do you think is going to be the answer to that? Is that true or false?
False.
Okay, and why? What is going to be the justification for
that? Well, it's not as well, it starts with that. I mean, it has experienced changes. Yeah, and yeah, I mean, over the years, yeah, the method emphasized more on this part of the technical aspects. Well, in the violin example, yeah, I would say that.
All right, then this next one, the role of the parents is right as important as it was before. What do you say for that? Is that true or false?
The role of the parents is
still as important as it was before.
I would say it's false, because it's not family oriented anymore. I mean, not as it used to be.
Okay, good. Now, if I'm asking for, let me find this word. All right, depicts. All right, what is a possible synonym for depict that you can give me over there? Right, in the idea, the author, depicts perceived changes in overall tradition and learning environment by integrating and blah blah blah.
Okay, like going further, like, or deeper.
Close, it can be that, right? But actually that's not going to be the meaning, because if you put that in contrast with a word that is really going to mean that, that's going to be a mistake. All right, to depict is only, sometimes it can be as superficial as describing something. Okay, if you describe something, you depict something. All right, depict is also to show the main characteristics of something. All right, so showing, describing in a certain way is not going to go as deep. All right, again, depicting, like describing, can be that, and anything that you find closer to that is going to be the best synonym for that. All right, then I have just one more to finish, and then some final thoughts to again really finish everything. um, Actually, yes, that was the one. And for this other one, yes, I believe yes. So just final thoughts then. Uh, and mainly because of the time, remember, you're going to have mainly, let's divide the things that you have to do for reading. Okay? In reading, it's very unlikely that you're going to read everything. Okay? At least if you have a high score, don't read everything at the beginning. Okay, even skip the first part, don't read the article, go to the questions. Okay, why? Because reading everything, sometimes for most people that they try to get the highest score, that's always a waste of time. Why? Because when you go to the questions, if you once tried taking the TOEFL, at least in the practice, you have access to the part of the reading that you need to read in the questions. And sometimes reading everything first and then going to the elements again is not going to be the best idea. At least it's for the ones that got the highest score, that's not advisable. Okay, what you have to do is just scan everything, go to the questions, and then there you can read, but read only when you have the question for what you have to do. All right, then you can scan, and if you need to read, then you can read. But again, it's very unlikely that you're going to read the whole article first. All right, I don't believe again that they are going to recommend that. But once again, take a look at the strategies. There are many strategies. That's the one that use at least, all right, people that want to get the highest score. All right, then always pay attention to the connectors, to the elements, the way you connect the paragraphs, but mainly the connectors inside the paragraph. Why? Because the exercises that are going to ask you to introduce one new line or sentence in between the ideas that you have, it's always going to be related to the to the same paragraph. Okay, so you have to be ready to do that. They are going to give you one new sentence that is going to be a line or sometimes two, and you have to choose the best place, right? Sometimes it can be after rigid over here, or after stems over here, or after environmentally over here. So only one is the best. Okay, then the one that we mentioned before, synonyms, right? You are going to be told to select the word that is right closest in meaning to one of the words, and of course they're going to pick very picky words. All right, then this logic, right, they are not going to use the same words over here. And again, that's something very controversial about the TOEFL, is that the answers to that, they are also very like, how can I say, ambiguous sometimes. Okay, so you have to read at least 2 times each of the answers that you got, because there is always going to be at least one adjective, okay, sometimes one adjective or one preposition that is going to make that invalid. Okay, and sometimes the most obvious, that's going to be the one. All right, so if you overthink too much, that's going to be a mistake. But even doing that, don't try to use, don't go for, I mean, it's kind of, all right, paradoxical, but go for the one that you believe it is because you read that and you found that logic. Go for that. Okay, sometimes that's going to be the best option, but there's no, I mean, it's not bad if you give it a second read, and if you find something that is changing the meaning of that, you have to analyze then other answers. Okay, but again, what I'm saying is that they use these little words, these little details to make an answer that seems correct incorrect, just again by just one word or one detail. Okay, and I believe that's it in general. Yes, yes, it's going to be, again, it's always like gradual, right? They start with some easy ones, and of course the difficulty is going to increase. And yes, I'm sorry, I was forgetting the organizing, right, of the words. Always try to identify the main idea first, and try to see which ones were mentioned with less frequency, or they didn't pay a lot of attention to that, because you very likely are going to need to organize ideas in terms of priority as well. Right, but that's the thing that you're going to be practicing in the prep course. But to me, that's it. I just wanted to give you those pieces of advice so that you can be practicing by yourself. You have pages like this one, the one you have, I gave you the link. I don't know if you still have it, but if you look for TOEFL practice and you say 2022 or 2023, they are going to give you access to these reading exercises, writing exercises. At least the reading and the listening ones are the ones that you can always complete, because you don't need any like well, they don't have to check that, right? They don't need a person to check that, like in the speaking part or in the writing part, right? So at least those two, you have access to that. But do it, see how you do it, and try to look for strategies. But to me, that's it, and I want to finish then the class over here. I don't know if you have any questions about these elements that I mentioned about the TOEFL, or anything about today's class. Let me know, please, Matthew.
No questions. It was great. Yeah, to know.
Okay, good. There you go. So take that into account. Again, with me, then we're finishing everything now. Remember that once again, right? I never say goodbye, because there's always a reason, right, to keep in touch. So I hope there's going to be one, so that we can be in contact. Remember that if you get to have any questions, doubts, not just about the English, but about the TOEFL or anything you're doing to travel, I don't know, you can let me know if there's anything I can help. All right. And that's it. It was nice working with you, Matilde. I hope everything goes well. Let me know how you do in the TOEFL in the prep course. All right. To see, that. But that's it. Okay. Thanks again. And I don't know if you have any comments before finishing. Let me know.
No, I mean, thank you. I did learn a lot, so I'm really grateful for all the classes, and yeah, it was great. Yeah, thank you.
That's great to know. You're very welcome. Again, I hope I can know about you, right, very soon. That's it. Have a good night. As always, please, I'm sending the poll, the usual daily poll, plus one more that is for the final day, that is today. All right, that's one, and this is the last one over here. There you go. So have a good night. Please remember that you still have until Sunday to finish everything for Pearson. All right, that's also very important. With that, I send the scores, and then you're directly going to be in contact with management, and they are going to give you information to be in the course that is going to be with a different person. Okay, have a good night, and well, I'll see you soon, I hope.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. Thank you.
Bye-bye. See you.